He's the marketing manager from Torrens University. Linden, welcome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So guys, we will talk about Torrens University, the upcoming intake. As few of you might know that the next intake would be November this year. So we will talk about all the courses. We'll talk about the scholarships. I've heard, I'm not sure if I'm 100% right, but Linden, I've heard there are significant number of scholarships which are there. So that's a very pleasing thing to see and to talk about. And we'll of course talk about different student services, and we'll talk about, as you know, as we always talk about the different messages, what the students had to say to Linden, and just to get the feedback about, you know, what the current students are going through and their, you know, positive notes. So Linden, let's not waste any time. Let's talk about the Torrens University. Can you please tell us about just a little bit of background for our new viewers about university, please?
Sure. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to have a chat with you and you know, work in conjunction with Aussizz to promote our university and our courses for the next intake. So I appreciate that. So Torrens University, for those of you who may not know who we are, so we're Australia's newest university. We're also Australia's fastest growing university. So we've been around and available for international students to enroll since 2015. So 5 years, and we started with one international student back then who was, you know, courageous enough to invest in his education and his future career with a new university that hadn't taught any international students. So from that time, we've now expanded out, and we have 11,000 international students. So we're Australia's newest, in a few short years. So it really speaks to you know, the quality of the education that we have, but also that, you know, that students stay with us and they complete their degrees, which is wonderful. So we started in Adelaide in 2015, and we still have a campus in Adelaide, but we also have campuses in Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne as well, where you and I are both based. Unfortunately, we can't actually access the campus at the moment, as everyone's probably aware. We also have a design campus in Auckland too. So, but Torrens University Australia, while we're Australia's newest university, we're part of a higher education entity called Laureate International Universities. So students have access to, we're Australia's newest university, but we're part of a large network of universities across the world. So we're not just this one small new university, we're actually part of something much bigger, which is really exciting, and it's of huge benefit to our students too.
Excellent. So one fine day we'll be able to travel to Auckland as well to visit the Torrens University in Auckland. I hope.
If they so wish, yeah, if they so wish. So that's a design campus. So of course, you know, our design course is running there with students who are studying here. By all means, you know, Perfect. New Zealand's a lovely place, so a good reason to go and visit.
It is beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, once we were talking about November intake and the intakes which is coming up. So this year, I believe there is one intake which is remaining, and that will be November. So can you please tell us about the courses which you as the Torrens University provide in November, and different campuses, of course, because we would like to hear from you the different campuses and the different courses which it provides.
Cool, of course, yeah. So we have 3 main intakes per year, and then we have a November intake as well, which is it's a summer study period which has slightly reduced course offerings to make sure that we have the subjects running that the students want to do. So as a university, we have courses across business, health, design, hospitality, education, and English as well. We have English starting all the time. That's not just for the November start date. And from all of those, there are courses from within all of those faculties available and running for students to enroll into, apart from education. So the major courses that will be running will be from our business and health faculties, which are also our most popular courses as well. So if we're talking about the courses running in November, really we're talking about you know, our Masters of Business Administration, Masters of Engineering Management, which is a brand new course that just launched in September. So we're really excited to be able to extend that to new students as well. Master of Business Information Systems, which is sort of a combination of business analytics and business and IT all in one course. Global Project Management, and Master of Public Health from the health faculty, as well as undergraduate courses in business too. So Bachelor of Business, Business Information Systems, and Bachelor of Commerce as well. But look, they're the major ones running, and probably the most familiar ones for people who may be watching this. But there are a range of other courses running as well that students are able to enroll into for this intake. What I would do is recommend that students do talk to their local Aussizz branch, get in touch with one of their counsellors there who can give you a bit more detail. I don't want to just go through all the courses that are running, but just as in a broad brushstroke, that's probably the best summary I can provide.
Yep, definitely. Thank you so much. I thought at one point that I should restructure my question, as in which courses you don't provide.
There we go. Yeah, maybe I should have done it back to front instead.
Okay, thank you so much, Linden. Now the next question what I have is a little bit different. It's what we are going through at this point of time. It's about pandemic. Of course, it's sad whatever is happening, but we are trying to stay as positive as possible. I'm sure most of the students in this situation is trying to stay as positive as possible as well. When it started in March and now we are in October, what is the feedback which you have received? Because I'm more interested in listening to students when they reach out to us. Of course, most of the times they are in a positive frame of mind, and if they're not, we try to help them, seek them, professional help if it's not right. But what's your feedback? What sort of feedback you receive from students?
Look, the feedback has been in regards to studying at Torrens has been fantastic. We've thoroughly enjoyed being able to support our students as much as we can throughout this time. Obviously, the feedback we're talking about is really two different kinds of cohorts of students. We're talking about current students who are already enrolled at Torrens University. Obviously, we had a range of services available to them, because the feedback was obviously that especially us in Melbourne, but
Yes.
In the other cities too, especially throughout the middle of the year, various factors meant that they weren't able to necessarily fund their tuition, let alone living costs and everything like that. And so we had a range of support services available there to support our current students throughout that time as well. For new and incoming students, obviously, as a university, we have an extremely competitive price point as a university, and our course costs themselves are ones that do make university education accessible, even throughout a pandemic where onshore, obviously, jobs and situations like that have become more difficult. But even for offshore sponsorship, where funds coming from offshore that are required to fund these things have been a little more difficult to obtain for various local lockdown and public health initiatives reasons. So for that reason, we've been able to really support our new incoming students through that, because the feedback is that as a university, they're getting top level education, but they're receiving it at a very competitive and reasonable price point as well. So that's been the feedback that I've received.
Perfect. Now, when you're talking about 3 different campuses, and then fourth one would be, Auckland, where design courses available. If you talk about Australia, what sort of student services you guys provide? If a student comes up to you guys for, different issues, how's the system work? Can you please tell us about that?
Sure. Well, we have a range of different services there, and it would sort of depend on the nature of the student's requirements. So if for example, there's a student who needs assistance with a range of needing credit requests, or they need to submit deferral requests, or different sort of administration requirements, then we have on-campus student support services available at each of the campuses. In Melbourne, obviously, due to the public health guidelines, those are all done virtually, but they still have access to those. If their requirements refer to a range of other factors, then we have different departments for that. So, for example, if students need support with academic skills, every single campus has an academic skills advisor So they may not have undertaken a university study before and coming over to Australia to undertake it, then they need assistance in how to structure an essay or something basic like that. If, throughout this time, obviously, and I think, there was actually in the news today, it was talking about the amount of people who have needed to call up Beyond Blue because of mental health issues throughout this pandemic, which is, especially here in Melbourne, where we've been locked down for such a considerable amount of time, they've needed to access those. And so all of our students have access to student counselors as well throughout this time, so they can contact them and really sort of work through what they need to, because we know that the mental health of the student and the well-being of the student is absolutely our priority throughout this time. Then, I mean, if you're talking about the next step from that, if students have questions about, or need students services support for things like how do they go out and how do they get their resume ready? How do they get their internship? What sort of career do they want to go into? How do they even take that first step into going into a career? If we're talking about more those sort of holistic, sort of existential questions that students might have, then every single student has access to a success coach, and their role is to really support that student as a mentor throughout this time to make sure that their questions are answered. On top of all of those sorts of things, we also have an internal dedicated international current students support team to support with various administrative requirements of students. So absolutely, the student experience is absolutely center to what we do, and of course for international students that's no different.
Yeah, there must be something, right? And that's the reason the number of students which has been coming up and growing exponentially is because of the reason. So of course that sums up everything. The next question is, of course, one of the important questions after mental health and student service is what we talked about. The financial thing comes up, and I believe you guys are providing scholarships as well. So can you please tell us about the scholarship structure?
Yes, of course, correct. So, I mean, we have many scholarships available for a range of different reasons, and similar to the question about which courses are running, it may be quicker to sort of work backwards and say what scholarships we don't have. There's two things I guess I would say about this. First thing is, for anyone who's wanting to start in our November intake, and for all of those courses running, you'll automatically be eligible to receive a 25% scholarship off your entire tuition. So that's not just for the first year or the first study period or anything like that. It's for the entire course. So starting in November, automatically you'll get a 25% scholarship. There are some conditions, though, minor conditions. So what I would recommend, if you are interested in coming to study at Torrens University, then please speak with your local Aussizz branch, reach out to them, and they can clarify any questions that you have, and just make sure that everything's as it needs to be for you to be able to get that scholarship. But yeah, flat 25% scholarship for anyone who is wanting to start in November, which is great. But there are also a range of other scholarships at different values for future intakes and for different regions and that sort of thing too. So either way, I would recommend people speak to their local Aussizz branch and they may be eligible for even more. You know what I mean? So definitely speak to the Aussizz team and see what we can do. But in terms of financial hardship, we are further reducing the tuition cost in the form of this scholarship. So hopefully it does make education more accessible, for our students.
Of course. Thank you so much, Linden. Now the other question what I had is, of course, November. What are the dates? What are the starting dates? Can you please shed some light on that one, please?
Yep. So it's coming up. It's a few weeks away now. So it starts on the 2nd of November for all of the main courses, apart from English, which have different start dates. So what I would recommend is that if for people who are wanting to come and study with us, orientation will be conducted the week prior.
Mm-hmm.
So I would also, I would ensure that students do try and attend that if they're wanting to come along, and then commence their classes on the 2nd. However, if for whatever reason students aren't able to attend earlier, there is an online orientation available for anyone who needs to start a little bit later than that. So by all means, if for whatever reason you're unable to enroll by that date, talk to the Aussizz team. They'll talk to me, and we'll work out what we can do for you to make sure you're supported to commence your studies.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Linden. Guys, if you are in any cities, any big cities of Australia, which may be Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, or Perth, we have offices in those cities. If you are in Darwin or Tasmania, feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'll definitely give you more information about it. As Linden just mentioned, that 2nd of November is when the next intake is starting. So feel free to get in touch with any of our offices, and we'll definitely let you know more information about the scholarships and all the other aspects. Linden, I'm a student who is currently looking for courses. What is the last message you would like to give it to me? Why should I choose Torrens University?
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm actually I'm a double alumni of Torrens. I've done both my undergraduate and master's degree through Torrens University. So what I can say is that if you're wanting to come to Torrens University, aside from the points that I made around value for money, and that we have, the reason we have a 90% retention for international students is for so many reasons, but the support services are there. The modes of assessment are designed to reflect what students will be going on to do in their professional career. We have programs that challenge students but enable them to succeed.
Yeah.
And so why would a prospective student want to come to Torrens University? It's because it'll set you up to succeed in the future. And that's the main goal of education, to have a positive experience that will enable you to succeed. And that's what Torrens University does.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. So when should I send my application?
Today, right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linden. Really appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
And the information what you provided. I'm very excited about the scholarship component because I feel at this point of time it's quite a need, and I'm glad that Torrens University have understood the importance of it and worked towards that one. So grateful for that. Guys, as I said, please feel free to get in touch with us. It might be your information when you finish one course and you want to extend, whether you finish your undergrad and wants to go to finish your post graduation. Feel free. There are different courses available, as we said. Any offices close to you, or we just one phone call away, to be honest with you. So thank you so much, Linden, on this Facebook Live. We'll definitely catch up soon. And once this pandemic is over, I'm definitely going to come and see you in person.
That would be great. I look forward to that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.